All right, so we're going to look at working on the dog bowl here today. You'll see that I've got two components in it right now. And we also will be bringing in a canvas that we're going to trace. And so we'll kind of learn about the process of that. I've already completed it, so we're just going to run it back to the beginning. And as you can see, first thing we're going to do here, create our new component. So we've got that, and we'll make sure that we're working in that component. And then the next thing we'll do is we'll bring in a canvas, and it doesn't really matter if that's in your component or not. That's sort of a judgment call. But bringing in our canvas, and here we can see it. Now, the important thing about bringing in our canvas is, well, there's two things. We want to make sure that we're calibrating it to the right size. We're going to use this 100 millimeter dimension to help that. And then we're going to be sketching around the outsides here. And then we want to make sure that since we are going to be revolving this, that the origin point is on kind of a point here that we can revolve around, or a center point of this image. So please notice where we're actually placing this, because that's an important part of this step. Here you can see the sketch. I've gone ahead and sketched around it. It was just highlighted there a second ago. Oh, we're sketching around the outside of these areas here. My advice to you is to sketch your all the lines with the dimensions, but no radiuses. Add those radiuses after the fact. You'll get a fully constrained sketch if you do that correctly without the radiuses. And then when you add the radiuses in, it'll stay fully constrained. So you'll add the angle dimensions, those 100-degree dimensions, those will be added. But these radius dimensions, you should add only after your sketch is 100% constrained or fully constrained. And so you'll end up with something that looks like this, a nice fully constrained sketch beginning at the origin point, so we can use that to revolve. Here you can see the whole sketch with all the constraints and dimensions on it. Once we've done that, now we can go ahead and do our revolve. We'll be revolving around the blue axis, the z-axis. You could also just revolve around the edge of your own drawing, but sketch, but that's all right. I think it's best to use the axes for this. And that should give us this three-dimensional shape of a dog bowl. And we'll go ahead and shell it. So you can see the shell procedure here, or the numbers you need. So I've got a nice shell there. And we just want to double check, do a little section analysis here. We want that bottom of that dog bowl to be sort of the middle part. Make sure it's raised above the actual bottom edges that are on the far extremities. And that looks to be the case. And then you can also just tell here that it is, basically this single layer of metal, that we've turned this into with the shell. We're going to add some fillets here, just on 2 fillets on the outer edges here. So you can see that happening. And now we're ready to sort of go through the process of turning this, getting the rubber banding that's going to go around the bottom. So we're going to use, I guess we'll create a new component here. We'll call it rubber. And let's see here. We'll go to this next thing, which is the offset. So I'll try and work in the rubber component here. And we're going to make sure we'll select the whole thing, but we'll open the menu, look for the offset, And you want to make sure you're selecting everything. So the entire dog bowl is selected. You may need to turn it over and make sure everything is selected. And note that we're keeping the distance to 0. We're making basically a skin. Oops. Sorry there. We're making basically a skin for this, a 2-dimensional skin that will eventually thicken to be the rubber. So here you can see it is just kind of showing through on the dog bowl, but it's the same kind of shape as the dog bowl right now, but it has no thickness to it. That should be evident. But do make sure you've turned this over to make sure all of it was selected. I'm going to bring a dark color onto it. It's not much darker, but as long as we can kind of tell. I'll try that one. Is there anything other colors here? It's really not much darker. No, love that. Well, may be giving up here on this. Trying a couple different colors here, but I don't know. But you can see here we've got the dog bowl, and then we've got the kind of what will be the rubber banding on the bottom of it. Moving forward, we are going to create a new sketch on the bottom of the dog bowl there. And we're making a circle. You can see the dimensions of that circle. So we're just sketching a circle. There it is. Okay. Make sure we've got the right dimensions for that. We're going to use this as an extrude to get rid of the remainder of the parts we don't want of the rubber. So I'm just going to hide the bowl part here and just leave that kind of rubber part. And you can see that we're extruding through it both directions. We're getting rid of most of it, and we're just leaving a little band. That's all. So if I turn that on, you should just be able to tell that this is a very thin, it's a skin basically that is a band. And what we're going to do is we're going to thicken this in a second to make it look like a kind of rubber banding around it. So that's the next thing here. So I'm going to turn on everything now, and we'll go ahead and get ready for this thicken. I'll turn the body off so we can see what we're doing here. So the next thing is we're going to go down to thicken. That's what I've done here. And you're just selecting that 2-dimensional body, and you can see the numbers I'm giving it here. And just adding a thickness to it. So now, instead of just being a 2D, kind of having no real thickness at all as a surface body, now it's a 3-dimensional body. And you can see we've created a 3-dimensional body below it. And that's the banding. So basically, you've done all the steps here for the dog bowl. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions.